Good evening. Good evening and welcome. Extending deep gratitude to Dr. Rao and our esteemed colleagues across VCU and the Richmond community. I am Jessica Bell Brown, Executive Director of the Institute for Contemporary Art, and it is an immense privilege to welcome you to the 2026 MLK Day or MLK Week celebration here at the Markell Center. Week, not day. This is one of my top highlights of the year. And I think it's because it's the time when we really get to gather in the honor of Dr. King's immense legacy. And in times such as now, what a gift to be able to gather safely, with intentionality, to reflect, but also to act, to move in the faith of our humanity and our shared connection to one another as fellow Rams and neighbors and community members. So, I want you to turn to your neighbor and say, neighbor. Okay, we're going. Don't say okay. Say neighbor. What a good day to be a Ram. All right now. Now turn to your other neighbor. Turn to your other neighbor. Say neighbor. Please silence your cell phone. No, in all seriousness, our mission here at the ICA is to listen, it's to create, it's to make art public. And I want to extend the deepest gratitude to Dr. Mahbouba Mousaval, Verinda Cobb, and the Herculean team that is the Division of Community Engagement, AKA the GOATs, AKA the real MVPs. And I say this because this team is one that truly anchors our collective efforts in serving the common good on campus and across this great city. It's the highest privilege to host tonight's festivities, and thank you for thinking of the ICA. I also want to thank all of the students, faculty, artists, world builders, scientists, historians, and community members here with us tonight. You move every day with courage and a relentless faith in humanity, reminding us of Dr. King's prescient words, right? If we are to have peace on earth, our loyalties must become ecumenical rather than sectional. Our loyalties must transcend our race, our tribe, our class, our nation, and this means we must develop a world perspective. And what greater gift to develop that perspective right here on this glorious campus at VCU. So there's no time such as now to hold this legacy, what Dr. King fought for and through with us as part of the Commonwealth, but also for a common good. Tonight, you're going to experience what I know will be a very powerful set of dialogues and exchanges, and we thank you for being here. Now, allow me to introduce to you Dr. Mahbouba Mousaval, VCU's Vice Provost for Community Engagement. Thank you, Dr. Mousaval.
Thank you so much for that introduction. Good evening, everyone. Jessica, I just want to say, and I say this often to my team, leaders make a difference. I was at a meeting a few weeks ago in the community, and I met a very, well-known leader in the community, and all he talked about was the ICA and your leadership. And he said, what a difference you have made as a leader. So I wanted to share that with you. So thank you so much for hosting us tonight. All right. Well, days like today invite us to pause. An MLK celebration is not only a moment of remembrance, it is also an invitation to reflect. It asks us to examine our integrity, our authenticity, and how real we are in relation to the values, principles and actions that define the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and the many allies who worked alongside him. At the very least, Dr. King's legacy asks us to consider whether we are aligned with what we say we stand for and how we show up in the world. What I have come to understand more deeply over time is this: it is not what we say that defines us. It is what we do. It is in the doing that we come to know who we truly are. As we gather today and listen to our speakers, I want to lift up something important. What you will hear from them is not theory. It is practice. It is the lived practice of values and action. And that is where the urgency lies. The fierce urgency of now is the urgency of doing. Because if we only say, but we do not act, then we are not aligned. And it's days like this that helps us ponder, to think whether what we say we are is really aligned with what we do. Through the work of the Division of Community Engagement, VCU's commitment to community engagement is grounded in the doing, in action, in alignment, and in what it means for us as a university to live into our responsibility as an anchor institution in Richmond and across the region and across the world. Values such as collaboration, authenticity, transparency, and respect sits at the core of community engagement at VCU. And yes, these values matter, but they only have meaning if we live them. Over the past year, VCU engaged in a comprehensive self-assessment of our community engagement. We asked the hard questions. Are we really doing what we're saying we are doing? And is community engagement a part of us as we say? So it took all of a year to do that work, and last week we learned that VCU was successfully reclassified as a community engaged R1 research university. We are proud of this national recognition, of course, but not because of the designation itself, but because it reflects the daily work of our faculty, our staff, our students, and especially our community partners who walk alongside us. And yet, like any meaningful celebration rooted in Dr. King's legacy, this moment also calls us to ask, can we do better? How can we be more impactful? And how can we continue to align who we say we are with what we do? And I'm grateful to be on this journey with all of you, to keep doing. Finally, I want to acknowledge that none of this work happens alone. This has been a full week of MLK programming, including conversations, learning spaces, and opportunities for reflection and action. I want to extend my sincere thanks to the co-chairs of this effort, Verinder Cobbs and Stephen Davenport, as well as to the Division of Community Engagement team, the faculty, the staff, the students, and most especially our community partners, whose knowledge, care, and commitment shaped this week of programming. So thank you for the work that you do. And as I started the conversation, leaders matter. None of the work that I've described here today could happen without leadership that creates a space for it. And that's why it is my great pleasure to introduce our president, Dr. Mike Rao. Dr. Rao has served VCU as president since 2009. In fact, Dr. Rao and I joined VCU in the same year. I don't know if you know that. And over the years, I've had the opportunity to witness what a remarkable leader he is. Along the way, we traveled together to South Africa to visit the University of KwaZulu-Natal in support of our research collaborations. It is through these experiences that I can say this clearly. Whether Dr. Rao is here in Richmond, elsewhere in the region, or in another part of the world, I do not think there is a fiercer advocate for VCU students, staff, faculty, and community. In particular, Dr. Rao has been steadfast in his support of the MLK celebrations at VCU. In fact, it has made it possible for us to honor Dr. King and his legacy through week-long celebrations across the university and in the community. VCU is extremely fortunate to have Dr. Rao. His vision and temperament have helped position the university at the forefront of transformative learning, research, and community engagement. Dr. Rao, thank you for your leadership, your vision, and your steady guidance. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Magboba. Way too generous and almost embarrassing. Thank you. As thinking about our trip to South Africa and thinking in the next few days I might rather be there than here for a lot of reasons that are obvious to all of you. And Jessica, congratulations on doing so well with our ICA. We're really proud of you as well. Thank you all for being here. Very, very grateful that you are here to celebrate the life of a person who really is one of the most important people that we've ever had the privilege of having on Earth. You think about the importance of celebrating the life of this person. You're celebrating the life of a person who fundamentally gave his life in so many ways to lift the lives of other people and really embraced the whole concept of what we all are, which is human beings. This is a person who was unbelievably dedicated to this deep-centered belief that I think he was gifted with. I didn't have a chance to know him. My dad did, and I'll tell you about that in a second. But I have gotten to know Dr. King's family, and in particular, Martin III. And they're just incredible people. But Dr. King's belief was so deep that it really it really drove everything that you saw. And of course, it got lots of attention, mostly positive and all, in my opinion, right, but some things that were very challenging for him and his family. I also want to say thank you to all who made it possible for us today, Brenda and Stephen and everyone else. I certainly want to thank our moderator and our panel and all of you who are participating today. So the theme is interesting. We're now faced with the fact that tomorrow is today. I quote from Dr. King, "We are confronted with the fierce urgency of now." So what he's fundamentally saying is there are some things that just can't wait. There are a lot of things that can, right? You hear people say, well, I'll call them tomorrow, or I'll do that tomorrow. And some of those things are appropriate to do tomorrow. But what Dr. King is saying is that there are some things that just can't be done tomorrow. And fundamentally, today is an important concept around what he's talking about, because what he's talking about is our values as human beings, our values that center us together in society, that enable us to function together as we should in humanity. And there's no need really to say tomorrow. There is every need to say right now, immediately. And I think we have some work to do around the world as a society, if you will. The work that we have to do is fundamentally what Dr. King was trying to teach us. And what he was trying to teach us is that, yes, we are all different. It's obvious that we are all different. To people who may look identical are different. And we have to find a way to understand the value of that, embrace that. It is important because it does bring us more value as a human society. I mentioned to you that my dad had a chance to meet Dr. King at Boston University when Dr. King was passing through there. And he was very fascinated by my dad because at that time there weren't very many Indians actually in the country, and my dad was one of them. And Dr. King said to my dad, you know, I really, really admire, and I'm a giant follower of Mahatma Gandhi. And as a result, you know, my dad obviously was a huge follower himself of Mahatma Gandhi. And my dad was very grateful for what Dr. King was doing because, as I mentioned, there weren't very many Indians, and my dad was a noticeably very dark Indian. In my opinion, one of the most beautiful Indians I've ever seen. He didn't live long. He died when I was 4 years old, but those 4 years are some of the best memories of my entire life. But he was facing some things that weren't so easy for a really dark Indian in this country at that time. And obviously glued to Dr. King's wisdom, which was that we have the ability, we have the empathy, we have the feelings that we've been given as human beings to understand and to really appreciate all other human beings. And it was a beautiful thing that ultimately we still have a lot of work to achieve. And so that's why we keep talking about Dr. King, because we know we do have opportunities to continue to really make progress. You know, he talked a lot, too, about things that people do when we get frustrated, you know, the anger and such. And the reality is, look at society today. It's an interesting place. I was going to pull my phone out, but I don't have it. So when you asked us to silence our phones, I realized somewhere out there. And it's just as well. But you know, there's so much social media, people using as many venues as they can to try to figure out how to influence what you think, right? And you've been given that gift that I was talking about that I know Dr. King understood, which is that where empathy comes from our feelings, right? And so I would tell you it's important for us to remember that we need to center ourselves around what we feel, right? Not necessarily what we believe, because sometimes what we believe doesn't come from what we feel. It's from, you know, what we're believing is being taught to us, comes through our ears or our eyes, and, you know, goes to our brain. And I'm not talking about your brain, I'm talking about your feelings. You know, that heart center that we've been given, that so many of us never even really discover, I'm afraid to say. So there's this incredible quote, but I wanted to tell you one I picked out. And I pick it out and I'd say it every couple of years because we don't hear it enough. And when Dr. King said something I just love, so to speak, he said, "I have decided to stick with love," quote, "for I know that love is ultimately the only answer to mankind's problems." And by the way, it's one of the only answers to the stress that we face, the health issues that we face, and a lot of the challenges that we just create within and for ourselves that we really don't need to. And we think they're all coming from society, but again, I'm a firm believer that we need to center ourselves around who we are. And to get there, you have to feel who you are. So what Dr. King said was one thing, but you know what he was really doing is trying to get you to think about that word. So love is just a word until people really bring meaning to it. And we've got some work to do there. What I think that Dr. King was thinking about, and of course I don't know because I didn't have the opportunity to talk with him about this. I think I would have been 2 years old, and I might not have made much sense at the time. But I think what he's saying is, and I can tell you what I think about it, it's to stay human, to really be human, and to really keep those feelings and empathy for other people in place. And so you have this ability to do this. This is a great place. VCU is someplace I'm very proud of. Mugbobe, you did a great job of talking about VCU as a place. I mean, this is a major research university. that, could be taking lots of different pathways. This pathway that we've taken to really embrace as many different people from as many different backgrounds as possible is an important part of what makes us a public university. And so I thank all of you very, very much for helping to fulfill that mission that I think is so critical to this institution. Thank you all very much for putting all of this together. Thank you very much for everything that you're doing to help us advance as an institution. Very, very glad to have an opportunity to be together with all of you today. I know the panel will be fantastic, and I know the performance will be as well. Thank you all very much.
Southern tree bear straight through, blood on the leaves, and blood.
Arnold Toynbee says, love is the ultimate force that makes for the saving choice of life and good against the damning choice of death and evil. Therefore, the first hope in our inventory must be the hope that love is going to have the last word, unquote. We are now faced with the fact, my friends, that tomorrow is today. We are confronted with the fierce urgency of now.
march on till victory is won. Is won.
Is it my turn? Forgive me, y'all. I got so excited when Dr. Rao talked about action. I just leapt into action. I'm your moderator for this evening, Dr. Kasara Bey-Spencer, and I'm honored to be here as part of this MLK Week celebration, and I'm honored to be here with these panelists. So this keynote celebration is intentionally designed not only as a moment of commemoration, but as a catalyst for sustained engagement, reinforcing MLK Week as a living expression of Dr. King's call to action. You heard in the video that Dr. King warned us that tomorrow is today and called us to the fierce urgency of now. So tonight's panel discussion connects that urgency to the social, economic, and educational realities facing our communities. So together, we will examine what is working, where gaps persist, and how collective action across campus and community can move us forward. I'm apologizing to the people on my right that you have a little bit of my back, okay? So I'm gonna ask our panelists, please introduce yourself and share a little about your work and how it addresses the urgency of now. And also, at what age were you when you recognized the need for your work?
Yeah, I can go. Hi, everyone. My name is Elijah Lee. I'm an 18-year-old community activist based here in Richmond. I'm the co-president of the Virginia chapter of Voters of Tomorrow, and I involve myself in a few other community organizations, all of which are just dedicated to finding new and innovative ways that we can uplift young people and center young voices when we're talking about the issues of race, the issues of sexism, the issues of gun violence prevention, and so much more. For me, I think that so much of my work, especially now, is based in politics and it's based in policy, and we're trying to find ways that we can create systematic solutions to the systematic problems that we see, right? And I think when we look across society, we see a variety of social issues that are, of course, the products of systems that have been constructed to operate in the very way that they do. And so I think what I see my work now is finding a new way that we can approach this work and saying, how can we flip those systems on their head, right? And I think that while there's a huge debate, and there will always be a debate between revolution and reform, I think we're in an era in America where reform is revolutionary. And so I think that that's kind of the approach that we're taking right now. For me, I started my work when I was 10, leading child abuse awareness marches, and over time it expanded from there. And I'm so excited to see what that work continues and what the work of my generation leads to.
Thank you. Y'all might want to write that one down. Reform is revolutionary.
Greetings. I do my work because of Elijah, I will say that. But greetings, everyone. I am Sister Angela Patton. I am a daughter. I am a wife. I'm a mother. And I am an activist, a founder, a storyteller, a filmmaker, and whatever Black girls need me to be in that moment, that's what I am. So Girls for a Change is an organization that I am the founder of. I've been leading this organization for 21 years right here in Richmond, Virginia, where I am born and raised by amazing parents who actually told me when I became a leader. You know, when that question was asked, I thought it was when I was a founder of an organization. But one day I became a little weary about this work, because being a Black woman and saying that I stand in gaps of Black women is unacceptable here, right? when I founded the organization, I was told that you need to let a white woman do this because they wouldn't even believe that you had the resources, nor the information, the awareness, or even a support system to make anything move because you are Black in Richmond. And so that actually just put some fire in me. But I did go to my mother, and I told her why I was concerned. And she pulled out my senior book, and she said, I want you to read what your friends had to say about you. And they said, Angela, you're going to change the world. Angela, you a leader. Angela, they wanted you to be quiet and you got in trouble because they said you were doing too much because they feared who you were going to become. And so I understand that the work is what I've been called to do. And so if I was to sit here and tell you all the things that we do at Girls for Change, I would be taking over this panel. But the reason that our name is Girls for Change is because we prepare Black girls for the world, and we prepare the world for the girl. And that is not later. The urgency is we want the world to be prepared today, right now. And I am really honored to be here with all of you and to hear about all of this work that you all can hit yourself to as well, because we have some amazing things going on in Richmond. So I thank you for allowing me to share that.
All right, good afternoon. My name is, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm a teacher. So, good afternoon. All right, thank you, appreciate you. All right, so my name is DreMon Miller. I am 33. I'm a Black male, if y'all don't know. I don't know if y'all can tell that yet. All right, I'm a Black male. I'm a native of Richmond. I'm actually an alumni of VCU as well. I graduated in 2015 with my bachelor's in criminal justice and homeland security. While being here as a student, I served as a correctional officer for my last 2 years of being a student here. So I was living on campus, and then I was going to work in a jail for 12 to 16 hours, coming back to campus to do schoolwork, going back to work, coming back here to campus. So just follow me when I tell y'all a little bit about me. After doing that, I graduated from VCU. I became an officer for the state of Virginia, where I served for 4 years. After that, I became an educator with Richmond Public Schools, where I taught criminal justice and I taught forensics to all the high schools at the Tech Center. When I left from the Tech Center, now I am currently the department chair for criminal justice at Reynolds Community College. And I also own, I think that's why I'm here, I own and I founded a organization called Street Smart Silver Safety. I have to attribute the name to my siblings. I'm one of 5. I'm the middle child, and they probably will tell you I'm the disruptor in everywhere that I go to. I disrupt every room. I disrupt every meeting, not in a way to cause conflict or harm, but in a way to make sure that we and us as humans always think about others while we also thinking about ourselves. Street Smart Silver Safety focuses mainly on young teens. We have about 8 to 9 different after-school programs that is very creative in the way that we take criminal justice and forensics, teach social and emotional learning. We build connections between communities that usually only see law enforcement in a certain light, and we bring them in and we make the law enforcement officers listen 100% to what the youth and their families have to say. We ask them to come in and be quiet and give the room to those who they have to serve, with the understanding that you as a law enforcement officer, as we are as leaders, are a servant first. To be the best that we can be, we have to know that we're coming in with the heart of a servant and not the heart of a dictator or a heart of telling someone what they need, but asking them and actually listening and getting the information that they give us and putting it in place. The only way I can do my work is to make sure that I'm grounded and I'm rooted in a sense of knowing myself and a sense of understanding that I can survive while other people also flourish. I am not afraid, I am not scared, I am not questioning whether I can grow. I can be great in the same time as you growing and being great. I know that I am who I am because you are who you are, and that's what we lead with at Street Smart Silver Safety.
Thank you. So I'm actually going to direct this question to be answered first by you, Angela, because you've already alluded to the answers to this question. If tomorrow is today, what is the most urgent challenge you see right now, socially, economically, or educationally, and why can't it wait?
It's so much going on, right? But I will address what I have a direct connection to, right? Because I have the privilege, don't be jealous, of working with amazing Black girls every day. I'm not that CEO that's in the office only writing proposals. You know, I am attentive in my programs. You know, the girls can knock on my door. It's an open door policy, and I'm up close and personal. So that means I get to have a conversation with those that I am co-creating change with, okay? And so the conversation that we have had recently is this fear of Black girls wondering if there's place for them anymore. And that's because they have access to things like the news. So when they see that over 600,000 Black women and counting who are qualified, who have followed the directions, who have leaned in, and now they have lost their jobs, and they have these conversations with their mothers and aunties and godmothers and their peers, they are fearful. And I was at an event not too long ago where a Black woman who is a student at Virginia Tech, I don't know her, but I'm gonna get to know her because I gave her my card. And she emailed me, and we have a meeting next week. And she stood up because she's a creator in communications. And she told all of these elder people in the room that she was fearful of her future. And they all said, "Oh, sister, you a goddess. Oh, sister, let me tell you, girl, don't be fearful. You can't be fearful." That is her truth, y'all. That is her truth. And every adult in the room told her she was wrong for being a truth teller. So the sense of urgency for me was to make sure I found her, and I gave her my card. And I said, "I heard you, sister, and we're going to work it out together." I don't even remember her name, but it's on my calendar invite, but I remembered that story. And what I've, feared for her is that she would be in the room and no one else would have heard her loud and clear and young and bold and courageous, and they shut down her reality. And her reality was, I don't feel like I belong. But I'm going to stick this school thing out because as a Black woman, I know that I have to comply. I know that I have to, follow the rules. And I know that I have to, be a good girl, right? And so if I don't do those things, I'm fearful. But now I'm doing them and I'm doubtful. Where do I fit in? So I think that that's the urgency for me, because it is costly to go to school and then not know if this is going to be a return in your investment. And so I want to make sure that I am addressing our new governor who keep talking about women and girls. I said, "Oh, she talking my language now. She done said the wrong two words, women and girls." And I am going to hold everybody in this state accountable around making sure that all of these young people, but specifically the Black girls that I get to have conversations with, are seen, heard, and valued, and they no longer stand in fear because they don't know what the future looks like. And so I'm going to make space for them. I'm going to invite you to make space for them. Create a job, make an opportunity, put them in spaces to continue to grow and show that they can contribute. And so the state of urgency for me is it starts today. So if anybody chooses to come to me at the end and just ask me for my card, you know that that means we have work to do, starting today. That's my urgency.
Thank you. Thank you. DreMon, would you like me to repeat the question?
Yeah, yes.
If tomorrow is today, what is the most urgent challenge you see right now, socially, economically, or educationally, and why can't it wait?
I would say for me, I will have two, okay, if that's all right. The first one is the urgent issue that I see, or challenge that I see now amongst all people of all races, is the lack of community. I think over time, if you look at history, you see, and when I speak to the people that we work with, not only the young men, but their families, is the sense of community is not what it used to be, and there is missing links into what community looks like. Community, now as we see it, looks as if we don't share those things that maybe don't make us look as pretty or nice. We don't share the downfalls that we have with the younger generation. We are not honest with ourselves when we fail or when we fall short, even though that those are usually the times when we learn the most lessons. And those are usually the times where people can connect to and help build themselves up from, because then it opens up a doorway, and this kind of goes into the question we'll get later, but it opens up a doorway for people to want to be honest, for people wanting to trust you, for people wanting to give you a second moment or a chance, even if I don't want to talk to you. If I just met Miss Angela here and I ask her and I say, she asked me something, I might be nervous to speak to her. I don't know her. You know, she has a lot more life experience than me. She's established, she's great, right? But that might be intimidating to me if I've never seen someone that is around me or in my circle, a mentor, a parent, a friend, a family member who has reached that level of success. But by having community, we are being able to open up to each other, be honest with each other, not only the high times, but the low times. And we can't ask other people that's outside of the community to come in and do those things. We have to be intentional about protecting those who are in our inner circle and preparing them for when they go out into the world itself. If we're not gonna do that, then we can't look at the world to come in and fix those who we have direct access to. So I think by using your community intentionally to grow others, then you are also letting them know that you will fail. We all will. I mean, it's gonna happen. I fail. It's very nice to talk about DreMon, the owner, DreMon, the college grad and all of that. But what we don't talk about is DreMon, the one who wanted to take his life in college. DreMon, the one that's one of 5 students, one of 5 kids, but I'm the first one who went to college. So it was scary. I didn't understand what it meant. Yes, college looks great. I'm gonna get a degree. It's awesome. What do I really want to do after college? I didn't want to work at a jail. I didn't want to be a cop. I'm grateful now for all of those things that I did do, because they've led me on a path that I am now and put me in a place to sit on platforms like this, use my experiences. They put me in rooms with other officers who I didn't agree with, and I tore them meetings up, to be quite honest, because I didn't agree with what was going on. And once again, I'm a disruptor. I can't sit here and let something happen, but we have to be honest with ourselves and our own communities in order to have the next generation, and also the generation now, to thrive. So for the younger generation to thrive, we have to be honest and tell them the highs and the lows. For the generation that is my generation, we have to stand in a place for them and give them spaces for them to be able to speak out and actually do the action with guidance from us, because we have a little bit more wisdom. For my parents' generation, they have to be honest with themselves to say, hey, I need to be honest with myself and tell my kids, yes, I did mess up. Yes, your upbringing might not have been the best, but I did the best that I could. And that conversation goes more than just past that. It goes into, I made this decision because of this. If not, we're gonna have the same cycles over and over again, and history gonna keep repeating itself.
So I'm gonna switch it up a little bit for you, because I hear a connect between Angela's answer and DreMon's answer, where you talked about a person who stood up in community, right, but was not recognized for the vulnerability. They were kind of glossed over, right? And you're saying that that's exactly what we need for moments where folks can be honest and transparent and be received by community. As a young person, have you had those opportunities, and do you see where young people need to have more of those now as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, this question and the question previously are really important to us as young people. And at Voters of Tomorrow, it's not only important for me to be able to advocate for the things that I believe in and advocate for the things that are important to Elijah Lee, but it's important for us to represent young people, right? It's important for us to go to college campuses and to go to high schools and have real conversations with people to better understand where they are at in their lives, right? And I think that Ms. Patton kind of hit on the head here, in that in every single instance, regardless of what this student looked like, regardless of where this student comes from, there is one thing that remains constant, and that is fear, right? That is this fear of the unknown. It is a fear of what is happening in our society. I mean, we're sitting in gov classes and we're learning about this importance of the Constitution, and yet we have individuals who seem to not have that same importance for the Constitution. You know, I mean, we're existing in a state in which it is so much easier to normalize violence amongst one another, and that when you have a moment of love, we uplift it because it is so rare, right? And I think that's what you're saying about community, is that it doesn't exist anymore for us. And I think the fear that I have is that we have been socialized in this community already. We have been socialized to believe that what is happening before us is acceptable. And that can't go ignored. You know, I mean, the youth psychosis has already been formed in a way in which violence is normal, in which discrimination is normal, in which subjugation, marginalization, in which that is all normal, that the power hierarchies that we exist and we see today, that those are normal. You know, and so it is an act of resistance for our young people to object to these. And I think what we see here happening on this stage, to go back to the question specifically, is that there are these pockets of community being created, right, in which young people can exist in, right? There are events like these in which young people have an opportunity to really put our minds to it and consider these things. However, to also be frank, is that I have a significant fear that if we do not organize ourselves quickly, we are going to miss our opportunity. And I think that what we're seeing in society right now is a very quick degradation. It's happening very, very, very fast, right? In just a few months and a few years, look at where we were, right? Look where we were in 2016. Look at where we were in 2012. Look at where we were in 2008. And by no means am I saying it was perfect at all. But what I am saying is that we're in a very different place, and our generations are looking very, very different. And so what we now have to do is be able to pinpoint the problems that young people are facing, pinpoint the problems that the everyday American is facing, and then decide, what does it mean for us to teach our young people how to organize? What does it mean for us, and largely for you all, right, as community members, as elders, as our village, to properly sow into us in a way that we can take that wisdom and turn it into action? Right? That is what intergenerational collaboration really looks like, right? And I think what we're seeing here is that you have two phenomenal people in this panel that are constantly sowing into young people and are still acting themselves. But what right now, as a village, we need to rededicate ourselves to is understanding, what does our tomorrow look like if we do not organize? What does our tomorrow look like if we're unwilling to recognize the significance of class conflict, if we're unwilling to recognize the significance of executive expansions in government, if we're unwilling to recognize the continuation of, frankly, U.S. imperialism at moments? What does that look like? And until we recognize that, we cannot begin to think of a better tomorrow. So right now, I find it necessary that we organize ourselves. We find it necessary that we rededicate ourselves to the ideas of community, to the ideas of love, to the ideas of collective progress. Because only then will we have a real conversation about what tomorrow looks like.
Thank you. I'm trying to find my time person. Let me know when I'm running out of time, because this is good, right? Our next question was about thriving communities, but I think you all just spoke to that, right? What we need for thriving communities is for everybody to be included, to dispel fear, and to see a tomorrow where everybody's involved, where folks can be vulnerable, where folks can love and trust each other, right? But we know trust is a fragile thing, right? And trust takes time. So what I would like you to let me know and let the group know here is, how can we build trust across differences, particularly in moments of conflict, right? Or fatigue, or conflict and rage, right? How can we build trust in a way that's sustainable? What do you think?
I have a lot to say about that, but I love, Elijah, when you talked about your fear, but what I also have experienced is adults have a lot of fear in children. We don't have the same relationships with them. I often call my parents and thank them for raising me. and I mean exactly that. You know, sometimes that, you know, I understood what it meant to see someone that was an elder in the room. But I also was told by my parents that I had a voice. So they allowed me to at least ask questions. Sometimes it was going to be their way. Most of the time it was their way, right? Because they have wisdom, and I didn't understand that they were protecting me. So, but today I often hear, unfortunately, adults do not want to be bothered with children because they have this idea around the fact that they're disrespectful. You know, they don't have manners, you know, and so they choose to only watch them suffer and drown themselves and normalize that too. So what I often find myself doing, because most of the time I'm having conversations with children, is apologizing for our behavior. I start out with that. And so I believe that we all have to build trust, starting by recognizing what we are doing wrong, being accountable for our actions, and then also being a good steward of your word. One of the things that I share with people who say they want to come and work in Girls for a Change, whether it's a volunteer, whether it's a part-time position or full-time, is one thing in here that I'm always going to keep with me. Be a man of your word. If you said you're going to show up for these black girls, you do that. You do that. Because as soon as you don't, not only do I lose trust, they lose trust. And that is doing harm. And we have some people who need to work on that first before they even say the word organize out of their mouth. You need to get yourself together before you go into somebody's house trying to organize their stuff. So we need people to do that self-work first. That's just my opinion, because as you say, the young people need us, but they need us well, y'all. We must be well people before you step in there and then, you know, avoid whatever your trauma was. And that's not, they're missing it. It's saying, go fix it. It's saying, go work that out. And so those are the only people that I'm willing to organize with. Because if it does not serve black girls and women anymore, I don't want no parts of it. I don't care how good your speech is. I don't care how many panels you've been on. I don't care what letters are behind your name, what college you went to. If you cannot stand in that square of what black girls need, then we do not need that any longer. And those are the things that cause delay. So for me, that's trust. It starts with saying, I'm not ready right now. I need to get off your board. I got to do some other things right now. I need to volunteer next year. This is not the work that is called for me any longer. And I'm saying these examples because I know there are people in this room that should be saying it. Okay? So I'm giving you some tips. All right? On that, it's okay to say, no, you're not ready right now. And let someone else take that place and put these children in a position of victory. because we cannot afford any further delays, or we're going to continue down the road that this young brother just shared with us. And we should be doing better. We should be the model. And so I just want us to start there, and then you can join something before you even start something, because there's a lot going on here. Yeah. So get involved with the organization that's already doing something similar and help them, because a lot of the organizations, especially those that are ran by women, especially those that are ran by young people, and those that are ran by Black people, need you. But we need you when you're ready and well. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm being told to wrap it up.
Oh,
Yeah. we were moving in a slow hurry. But I do want to point out, again, the commonalities, because what I heard you say was be aware of yourself and the healing that you need, which also ties into what you were saying, DreMon, about people seeing other people as competition or not being able to share resources and work collectively together, right? And so it's about healing yourself first before you go out here and try to fix somebody else. It's about being honest with young people and making room, right? It's about understanding that you are part of something bigger than yourself. And so to be in service, you have to be whole. I think for me, that is a key, because every one of you have talked about perpetuating harm, yes, right? And sometimes we confuse urgency with some kind of reckless behavior, recklessness, right? Where I gotta do something right now, right now, right now. But let's not confuse that need for urgency with recklessness. Yes. Let's make sure that when we move fast, we move with intentionality. Mm-hmm. And let's make sure we're not perpetuating harm any further when we act. Because the urgency of now requires us to be present, and it requires us to be anchored in healing. Otherwise, we're just going to perpetuate the harm that has happened before. Mm-hmm. Yeah?
Absolutely. Yeah. Good
All
wrap
right.
up.
Yes, thank you. We have a Q&A time for the audience now. Anyone have questions? You will get a mic, so you will get to talk to the mic. Questions for our panelists? Comments?
You have one up here. You have one here.
We're coming.
He's right here. I was up there. I like all these young people in the room, too.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Greetings.
You know, this is a great topic of discussion in the panel, and I'd like to thank each and every one of y'all for what you're doing. And what I'm hearing is that some type of organization, a collectiveness around what was the key word, love. And I believe, you know, that spirit of love has been dulled down to what true love is for those who have made mistakes, or, you know, because you might not did what I did, but you did something. And if you haven't did anything yet, one day you may make a mistake. So a lot of time this word love is not expressed. And I hear another powerful word, organization, to organize. And I'm one that believes that not only this nation, but this world need to take a look at that, because it's a world issue, whether we're black, white, green, or what have you, you know. So in organizing, I believe the leadership or the head, I know a lot of people, you know, the house is divided, the nation is divided, the world is divided, and it's been divided. So it's a new thing. So a leader that can bring the attention to the people, it starts with the head. So everyone don't believe in God, but if scientifically, if we look at this, how we got here and how we continue to multiply, then we know we didn't start this. The internet didn't start it. Google didn't, you know, AI didn't start this. This was started by something greater. And when we seen a baby come into this world, but, you know, organizing And I'm sure a lot of us heard about the New World Order or a leader that's coming up for the New World Order. Order is a powerful word, organization. But the key word is that love piece. And because we're not able to have a system that's geared around love without religion, because the religion is division from where I'm coming from. However, everybody can generate love, because no matter where I've been in the world, love answered. Whether I was lost or couldn't speak the language, it was something about this word love. So, I guess the question would be...
I was going to say, is there a question, sir?
The question would be, would leadership be the primary issue?
Will leadership be the primary issue in organizing with the foundation in love? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. Did you want to answer that question? Yeah. It should be on.
I'm gonna make sure I got your question right. Is leadership the issue behind love or something? I'm gonna connect it. I got you. I think I got you. All right. So I would think leadership, right? It does. I would go with what you said. Like when I first started, I said that a leader is a servant, right? And to have that mindset is for all of the great leaders in the world, no matter what platform where they start at, for you to be an exceptional leader, right? One that others wants to see and maybe want to duplicate, right? One thing that she said, one thing I said, one thing that he said in his organization was that we lead first by understanding who our population is, right? I can't help young black men, I can't help their families, I can't help individuals who might suffer or have challenges with drug abuse if I don't understand the reasons why they maybe potentially got to that position. So as a leader, it is my responsibility and my duty to do the hard work of understanding exactly who I'm dealing with before I try to create a program, before I try to make connections, before I try to build a team to go in and help them out. And understanding when I go in, this is not my space. I'm coming in to assist. And sometimes as a leader, you even have to understand that you can assist to a certain point and then back up and see what happens. And then give them space to then come back to you and say, you know what? You were right there in that moment. Can I get your help again? Then you go back in, you help again. And then it's gonna get to a point where they might get fearful, they might get afraid. Us as leaders, like if we're being honest, we're very fearful some days as well, all right? Funding goes different. We get a little questionable, all right? If you don't know anything about funding right now, everything is up in the air. But we also believe that because of the collaborations, because of the friendships, because of things like this, because of the interactions and the social capital that we have created, that goes back to that trust, that goes back to the communities, social capital is just important, if not more than important, than economical, all right? If I can meet someone in here right now, you might have a skill that I don't know about, that I might need, or she might need, or he might need, or she might need. Now, I have just increased my wealth because now I know who to go to. I know how to barter. I know how to change or interchange different things to get the things that we need. So yes, leadership matters. The people at the top and being not afraid to make your people who's coming under you, teach them up so then they can be the leader when you're ready and you're done.
One more? We have time for one more question. A question. Which one?
Good evening. Really briefly, in terms of urgency for each of you, right? Being a youth, being a female, and being a male, in your roles in the community with this ever-evolving, changing America that we live in, juxtaposed to the America that Dr. King lived in, what is your strategy or suggestions for how do we deal with the changing climate in America right now?
I think that's a good question, and I'm happy to kick it off briefly. I think first and foremost, we have to stay informed, right? There's a lot happening right now. There's a lot of information being thrown at us. We have to stay informed to the very best of our ability. I understand we all live very busy lives. I respect that. Trust me, I do. But there's a lot going on right now, and there's a lot of people that are hurting right now. And the second that we do not give proper attention to as many people as we can, that is a population that becomes easy to dehumanize, a population that becomes easy to marginalize. And then secondly, I think with that information, we have to be ready to pivot, right? The kind of work that we're involved in right now, I mean, there's no real strategy, right? You can't just lay this out. Unfortunately, this hasn't been done before. We're in, quite frankly, unprecedented times. And so we're in times like that, we have to be ready to change on the ball, right? We keep, of course, our priorities central, right? We say, I will always be committed to empowering young people. I will always be committed to uplifting Black people, right? That stays central. But what we need to be able to do is properly respond and not only be on the defense, but every now and then we need to get a little aggressive in our approach on how we're coming after our communities because they're under attack right now. And so when we're in war over our communities, we have to be willing to have an ability to combat that, right? And I think, again, though, that goes back to information. You need the foundation.
I want to add to that too. Everything, absolutely. And that's what most of the leaders of nonprofit organizations are doing, right? Because we were pivoting for a long time. I've been doing this work for 23 years. I know all the dances, okay? So it's always a new one, a new line dance. I'm like, bring it. What are we doing this time? But what I would add to that, in this war that we have, in this we are constantly on I would say social media, watching the news, because we must be aware, right? So my job is to also make sure that my families are aware and they don't get into despair, because it's easy for the girls who are not just working with me, they live with their parents, right? And their caregivers who are just like, I'll just worry about it in 4 more years. And so I also have to be someone who's encouraging them to stay the course. Let's do this together, keeping them motivated and understanding that if we avoid this, the ripple effects are more dangerous, right? But when I'm doing everything that Elijah just shared, I also want my girls and their families to know that rest is revolutionary. And so I had planned to take some girls to Ghana in 2019. And then we couldn't do it. Y'all already know we got the bug. And then I said, I'm going to take them in like 2024. And then I had to go on this tour and could not do that. And so then I said, I'm going to take them this year. And everyone was like, absolutely not. You can't because of this war. You can't because you need to be here. But my girls deserve to get away from this foolishness for 10 days. And we are raising money. We almost halfway there to take 20 girls from Richmond, Virginia out of this chaos for a moment. So I feel like you have to find a balance too, because you are always on. But it's because it's a constant distraction. But you have to figure out that balance. And I was like, this is probably the best time to go, so that they don't have to hear what he's doing. They can't even get the channel. We are doing something that is revolutionary, and that is rest, that is peace, and that is decolonizing the mind. And these girls will come back stronger because now they have self-identity, clarity, and purpose. And so we are going to Ghana. Amen. Absolutely.
Okay, I don't know how to follow that up, but I'm gonna add a little bit to both of what they were saying. For me, when you're talking about an ever-changing world and in the space and the climate that we're in right now, I teach the young men lessons when we are in-house, and then I put them intentionally in places where I know they would be uncomfortable. And I let them see how I function in those places. I let them know my feelings when we're in those places and how I feel uncomfortable in the moment, but also give them skills right there in front, see and challenge them to understand how would they respond in those situations. Because as a kid, we can kind of control where they go, what they do, what they involve themselves in. But if we don't put them in them places now, when they become an adult, what's gonna happen when you walk in a room and you know nobody in the room wants you? So we kind of reframe the mind on those type of situations, that understanding, use that as a power tool instead of using that as a fear tactic, right? When I walk in a room, if there's only one of me and I don't see anybody else, everybody else in there maybe don't have the same background, which happens. I am a business owner who worked with young black men who took the unorthodox route to get here. I am an ex-cop, once again. Most of people, that turns folks off from listening sometimes to what I have to say. And then the minute I talk and I lead with my heart and I lead with my understanding of what I'm talking about and what we're doing and how the young men show up, and I let them speak and me be quiet, that gives them opportunities, that gives them space to grow, and hopefully that will be long-lasting. It will be long-living for them, and then they will go and they will create their own street smarts to help other people in their communities.
All right. Thank you. That's a great question. So we understand that we have to stay informed, but in the midst of our staying informed, we got to have some balance and rest and pull back. We also need to model and train young people to be in situations that they've not been in before, so they know how to handle themselves in this current climate. So let's give a round of applause for our panelists. Thank you very much. You've given us food for thought and inspiration for tomorrow, which is today. Thank you.
What's up, y'all? They're like, who is this dude walking to the mic, man? Like, what you got going on? My name is Khalil Houston. I'm a writer, poet right here, based in Richmond, Virginia. And I was invited out to share some poems with you all. I went to VCU, graduated in 2021. So shout out to VCU. I believe true change doesn't start without honest conversation, right? So, we family, right? I don't know. We family, right? Okay, let's get free. Let's get free for a little bit. So who am I? Well, I'm an earthquake, a tornado, a young man from Richmond, VA that shakes and flips things back together. I'm a natural miracle that washes away disasters, and my voice speaks a hurricane, a two-legged creature that runs seas with the tip of a pen. I'm an architect, blueprint details of details. My structure is solidified from the laws of my childhood. I'm blessed that my scars didn't come from straight bullets. I'm blessed that my scars came from playing tag on the concrete. I'm a boy that pretends to be a man. A boy that loves the sight of his mother, but hates the sight of his own reflection. Regretting that the earth gave birth to my bones, but bones were never meant to be broken, but only meant to grow. I'm a case, not a case study, not a statistic, not a nigga, but a young man with a Harlem Renaissance soul who prefers jazz over hip-hop. I'm the keys on Duke's piano, the strings on Charlie's guitar. I'm blues. I'm the product of Nina Simone, of southern trees, of strange fruit, a black body swinging in a southern breeze. I can't shake the smell of burning flesh, but my flesh makes the sun shine brighter. I'm the reflection of every star we pray to. Ashe. Amen. To the gospel at Sunday service, I'm the scriptures that they read every morning. The blood that's shed in the name of freedom. I'm Martin's nightmare. I'm Malcolm's last speech. My enemies, my actions are always affirmative. I'm David's appeal. My bondage was never supported by my God, but my God was given by my master. I'm a slave that picked up Nat Turner's sword. A black messiah they have always feared. The known and the forgotten. I'm the blood that keeps America alive. The untold story of black youth. I'm the reason that my father is proud to be a father. My life is the gift that keeps giving. Both college student and poet, I'm a walking contradiction. Prism of conviction, I have a right to live, so I write to live. I'm the one that sees everything and says nothing. I'm quiet. I'm patient. I'm present. I'm alive. Poem. Clap. If you enjoyed what you like, my name is Khalil Houston. You can follow me on Instagram. That's KHALIL_Houston, like Houston, Texas. I appreciate y'all, man.
So, I'm not that tall. The first thing I want to say is thank you all for coming out here. Every year that we do this, it is amazing to see how it continues to grow. I can say from this perspective, it is also amazing to see so many young people coming out here today. I love that. I appreciate everybody who came out. I appreciate y'all being here. I appreciate the panelists. I appreciate the people who helped make this program possible, Verinda Cobbs in particular. I definitely appreciate my senior leader, Mahbouba Masavo. She's a wonderful person. I appreciate the ICA. There's a whole lot of people I can say. Anybody who was on the MLK committee this week has been phenomenal. We appreciate that. What I also wanted to say is I really struggled today. I try to show up and be authentic. I often don't write things down, but I try to have a theme in my head before I speak. And I really struggled about what words I could share today that would be impactful, but would also be true to my soul. And so I am very pleased that I don't have to do that anymore because we had a phenomenal panel. And they said much, much, much of what I wanted to say. And so I definitely appreciate that. One of the things I did want to say that resonated with me, I'm 39 this year. I know some people might not believe it, but I'm 39 this year. And Martin Luther King was assassinated at age 39. And so for me, I hear people talk about their LeBron year, their Kobe year, their Jesus year. This is my MLK year. And when I think about tomorrow and I think about the urgency, I just would implore you all to do something bold, to make an impact. Whatever that bold action looks like to you, take it. If that means raising your hand and speaking up for the first time, I would say do it. If that means pulling somebody aside and mentoring them the way we understand that we need, I would say do it. But just please take an action that's a bold action for you. And with that, I'm gonna turn it over to Verinda. Thank you, thank you.
Woo! Y'all all right? We made it to this space. I want to close with gratitude. First, can you help me thank this amazing panel for how they led us in conversation, inspiration, and intentionality. Also want to say thank you to Jessica Bell Brown and the ICA team for all your help with organizing this amazing event. And to the DCE Dream Team, y'all, we did it again, right? Thank you so much. MLK Committee, if you're here, please stand real quick so people can acknowledge you. MLK Committee, y'all, they're all over the space. Y'all rocked it out this year. We were able to do this because of you. Dr. Masavo, thank you for trusting us to lead MLK Week, and thank you for everyone that is here. Y'all, Dr. King reminded us that we are confronted with the fierce urgency of now. That urgency still speaks, especially to us in this moment. So as we talk, I want to talk a little bit about activation. Take what you've heard, what you felt, and what you know, and turn it into intentional action. Activation means choosing to speak up when it's uncomfortable. It means showing up with presence in our communities consistently and not just to check the boxes. It means aligning your values with your daily work. It means being a community leader. It means being a listener. And sometimes it means being a friend. Hey, friends, where y'all at today? And so listen, I believe that change happens in the intersectionality of faith, courage, and connection. It happens when we stop waiting for the perfect moment to hop in. It happens when we stop waiting to lead, but meaning we lead right where we are, right? So as you leave today, let us move beyond inspiration into activation. Let us carry Dr. King's legacy forward through our choices, our leadership, and our commitment to justice and hope. And so as I leave today, I leave with intentionality to do the work. Can somebody say this with me now? Now. Thank you for being a part of this moment and answering the call. And we will have a reception, and we hope to talk to you then. Let's get to work now. Have an amazing day.